Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. Tonight, we bring you a roundup of global news from the Middle East and Europe. Tensions are escalating as Russia launches attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure amidst fragile truce talks. Meanwhile, Iran warns of revenge for U.S. ships attacked in the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump is caught in the middle, torn between his war plan and the fragile ceasefire. We'll break down these stories and more, bringing you up to date on the latest developments from around the world. Breaking a fragile peace deal, Russia has intensified its assault on Ukraine's critical energy infrastructure in a worrying escalation of hostilities. Russia has launched attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure amid ongoing truce talks between the two nations. The attacks come as Russian President Vladimir Putin is expected to meet with his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky in a bid to negotiate an end to the conflict. According to Zelensky, Russia could cease fire at any moment, which would bring an end to the war. However, tensions remain high, and both sides have accused each other of violating truces in the past. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is set to meet with Pope Leo during a visit to the Vatican this week. The meeting comes after President Donald Trump took aim at the Pope for criticizing the U.S. war in Iran, drawing criticism from Christian leaders across the political spectrum. Rubio's meeting with the Pope is seen as an effort to repair relations between the U.S. and the Holy See, which have been strained in recent weeks. As a Catholic, Rubio is expected to engage in frank dialogue with the Pope about U.S. policy, including its stance on Iran. The attacks on Ukraine's energy infrastructure are part of a broader pattern of escalation by Russia, which has been accused of using proxy forces to undermine Ukrainian government control. The situation remains fluid, and both sides have expressed concerns about the potential for further violence. A tense standoff is escalating in the Persian Gulf, with Iran issuing a stark warning to the U.S. and its allies over oil shipment routes. Today's breaking news comes from the Middle East, where tensions between Iran and the United States have escalated in the Strait of Hormuz. A series of attacks on commercial shipping vessels has raised concerns about a potential war in the region. According to reports, U.S. military aircraft targeted 6 Iranian boats that were threatening commercial ships, while also repelling missile and drone attacks. This comes as the UAE has reported fresh Iranian attacks on its territory, further straining relations between the two countries. The situation is complex, with both sides vying for control of the waterway. The United States has announced a plan to guide ships from neutral countries out of the Gulf, which Iran sees as an attempt to gain leverage over the region. Iran's powerful chief negotiator, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, has warned the U.S. against any further escalation in the Strait of Hormuz. In a statement on X, he wrote that, "We know full well that the continuation of the status quo is intolerable for America, whilst we have not even started yet." This warning suggests that Iran views the situation as a threat to its national security and will not back down without a fight. The implications of this standoff are significant. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the world's most critical waterways, with over 20% of global oil exports passing through it. A conflict in the region could have far-reaching consequences for the global economy. We'll continue to monitor this situation and bring you updates as more information becomes available. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, President Trump's stance on a potential Iran war plan is becoming increasingly complicated after recent attacks on U.S. vessels. A recent attack on U.S. ships by Iran in the Strait of Hormuz has raised tensions between the two nations, with the U.S. President Donald Trump struggling over how to respond. The Wall Street Journal reports that Trump is torn between punishing Iran for its nuclear ambitions and avoiding further escalation. The Iranian attack occurred when a U.S. Navy ship was damaged by an explosion while transiting the sensitive waterway. Another U.S. ship also suffered damage in the incident. Iranian officials have claimed responsibility, saying they were targeting the U.S. presence in the region. Trump's advisors are pushing him to take a tougher stance against Iran, warning that further restraint will embolden the regime. However, some experts caution that this approach may not be effective and could lead to more conflict. Val Nasser, a former U.S. official and Iran expert, told the Wall Street Journal that Trump's initial strategy of bombing Iran was flawed and that he is now skeptical about using military force. The White House has confirmed that negotiations are ongoing to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. However, with tensions running high, it remains to be seen whether these talks will yield results. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham has called for a strong response from the U.S., stating that Iran's actions were inconsistent with a regime that wants a diplomatic solution. Graham's comments reflect the growing divisions within Trump's administration on how to handle the crisis. The Strait of Hormuz is a critical waterway through which much of the world's oil passes, making it a key focus for international attention. The incident has raised concerns about regional stability and the potential for further conflict in the Middle East. The fragile ceasefire in place since last week's nuclear deal could be severely tested by a U.S. military move in the strategically vital region. In a move that has raised tensions with Iran, the U.S. attempted to force open the Strait of Hormuz for commercial shipping on Monday, creating an enhanced security area. The effort aimed to ease global economic concerns by breaking Iran's effective closure of the strait, through which about a fifth of the world's trade in oil and natural gas typically passes. However, this move has also reignited fears that the fragile ceasefire could collapse. On Tuesday, the UAE reported that Iran had fired missiles and drones at its territory, sparking international condemnation. The Iranian government has warned that it will respond to any further attempts by the U.S. or other countries to disrupt its territorial waters. The U.S. military confirmed that 2 American-flagged merchant ships successfully transited the strait on Monday, but the outcome of Tuesday's attempts is still uncertain. Ship tracking data showed a Panamanian-flagged crude oil tanker heading toward the center of the strait on Tuesday morning. The U.S. action has been met with criticism from Iran's top diplomat, Saeed Khatibzadeh, who accused the U.S. of undermining regional security and warned that Tehran would retaliate. The stakes are high because Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz has had significant economic implications, driving up fuel prices globally. Breaking this chokehold would ease these concerns and deny Tehran a major source of leverage in negotiations to end the war. However, any attempt to do so also risks reigniting full-scale fighting that erupted when the U.S. and Israel first attacked Iran on February 28. Following a recent escalation of tensions, we now turn to the volatile situation in the Middle East, where Iran's leader has issued a chilling warning. We're seeing escalating tensions in the region with renewed hostilities between Iran and the U.S. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has warned that the U.S. is at risk of being dragged into a quagmire as talks with mediator Pakistan continue to make progress. However, President Donald Trump's response to these efforts has been forceful. In an operation dubbed Project Freedom, the U.S. aims to assist commercial ships passing through the Strait of Hormuz, a critical waterway that connects the Middle East and Europe. The U.S. military says 2 merchant ships successfully navigated the passage with Navy support. But Iran is not backing down. The Iranian government has denied any involvement in recent attacks on ships, despite multiple explosions and fires reported in the Gulf. The U.S. claims to have destroyed 6 small Iranian military boats targeting civilian vessels. This escalating situation raises concerns about regional stability and global energy supplies. The Strait of Hormuz is one of the world's most critical shipping lanes, with nearly 20% of global oil exports passing through it. A disruption to this supply chain could have far-reaching economic consequences. The conflict has been ongoing for weeks, with a fragile ceasefire struggling to hold. Iran's involvement in recent attacks on ships suggests that President Trump's warning of blowing them off the face of the earth is being taken seriously by Tehran. The situation remains volatile, and it's unclear what the next move will be from either side. That's all for today's news recap. Thank you for joining us. I'm your anchor. To stay up to date on the latest developments, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. We'll bring you breaking news as it happens. Until next time, good night, and we'll see you then.